good morning, and welcome to Technical Wednesday with Oliver. So, last week we started talking about networking, understanding how networking is a key player in what we know today as the digital space, and how it had fostered many fields, including cybersecurity, as we know it today. So, this morning we are going to be talking about the various devices we classified last week, which are the endpoint devices, the intermediary devices, as well as the medium. But today we are going to be looking at them not just from um, the classification as a networking device, but classification according to their functionality, getting to understand the various roles that these devices play in ensuring that communication between devices and the internet at large goes on smoothly. So with that being said, let's move into the video of the day. So you can see that on my screen, I have multiple networking devices scattered all over the place. And you might be wondering, okay, why am I not seeing endpoint device? Why am I not seeing intermediary device? Why am I not seeing the media? So you have to understand that today, like I said, we are doing the classification according to functionality. So we are going to be using the terms that you will come across as a network engineer, security personnel, or any kind of key player in the digital space. So first off, we have the switches, we have the routers, we have the routers, these are called routers, we have the switches, we have clients, and we have servers. The clients and servers are also known as endpoint devices. We have the routers, which are routers and the switches, which make up the intermediary devices. And then this, my cable here, this my awesome cable here, is going to be our medium. As you can see, there is a flow, meaning that data or packet is passing through from this point to another point. So I'm just going to take this off for now. So these devices, these various devices as we see them, are not called a network. Why? Because there's no communication going on. You agree with me that when you get a device, take for instance, you get a mobile phone, without you having a SIM card on it or connecting to a wireless network, you are not able to communicate both locally or across the. This is because this device do not function in isolation. There must be some sort of connectivity for it to be able to communicate. And once it's able to communicate, then it becomes part of the network, the global network. So now I am just going to do a little bit of activity. So let's say by the time I take this here on client A, and then I take another connectivity from this client, let's call this client B. Let's bring this cable down a bit, and let me add my flow animation to it so we can understand what we are talking about. So for those of us who are all technical and feel like this video is just too basic, I'm very sorry. We are going to be deep diving into the technical aspect. But first of all, I want every single person, especially my beginners, to understand what communication is, what networking is. So we are going to be building precepts upon precepts. So when you are building the skyscraper of a network engineer, you are not falling off the you're not getting, your building is not cracking down because you do not understand the fundamentals. So this video is just so we understand the fundamentals, so we know what we are doing and why we are doing what we're doing as we progress in this learning. So back to the video. And now back to our video. So you see we have a client here and we have a server. So let's bring this down. We have clients and we have servers. Good, perfect. So we have client A and we have client B. But we have to understand that what makes them a client or a server, as we see above, depends on the role they are playing. So they are not static names. Let me explain. A client is a device that requests for a service or resource from another device. Now, the server is the provider of that resource. So, take for instance, you take a picture with your friend's phone, and then you request for that picture to be sent to you either via Bluetooth, Zenda, or whatever medium you want to make use of. As at that point in time, your friend's phone is playing the role of a server because they are going to be sending the resource, and in this case the resource are the images that you requested for. They will be sending the resource to your mobile phone, and at that point in time they are playing the role of a server, and you that you are receiving those images is the client. Note that we have dedicated servers, but even the dedicated servers are not like static. By this I mean sometimes dedicated servers can request from resources from other servers, and whenever they are requesting, they are called clients. So what makes them a client is the role they play, and what makes them a server, what makes them a client or a server is dependent on the role that they play. Moving on, we are going to be looking at the local area network. So this is a network because communication is going on, but this is not called a local area network. So in a broader sense, we have what we call the local area network, and this is where the switch connectivity now comes in. So I'm going to just quickly do the connection here. So let me just move this. Let's just get these guys off the road. So I'm just going to delete this. So let's quickly set up our local area network. So let's see, we have this Google server here, we have this here, we have this here. Pause the video to do my connectivity. So as you can see, we have two LAN network. We have local area network 1 and local area network 2. And we have a switch as intermediary device being connected here. We have to understand that the role of a switch is just to connect devices together and allow them communicate. So it connects multiple devices together and forwards the data sent to the correct destination within the same network. So by this I mean LAN 1 cannot get to LAN 2 because these are two different networks. The only communication that can go on are intercommunication. So client A can communicate with Google email server and vice versa. This network can only communicate with devices within the same network. And this is a very big limitation for the switch. But now we have modern day switch, which is a layer 3 switch, but we're not going to be talking about that. We just have to leave our local area network, and that is where the router comes in. The router helps foster communication across network. Unlike the switch, which only works inside of a local area network, a router has the ability to send and receive data between networks such as LAN 1 to LAN 2, which are two separate networks, allowing flow of communication, or to the internet to this email server that we have over here. For a router to be able to do all of this, it has to be aware of the destination address, or else the packet or the data, as it's called, will be dropped. In conclusion of what we did today, in summary, we spoke about got to understand that a client requests services and a server provides services. A device can act as both client and server depending on the role which is playing. We also spoke about the functionality and the role of the switch, which is to connect multiple devices to a local area network, and communication depends on how the data flows within the network. Lastly, we got to understand that a router can connect multiple devices like we have over here, LAN 1 and LAN 2. Sorry, multiple network like we have over here, LAN 1 and LAN 2. And to the internet as well, allow communication to the internet as well. Finally, we are going to be taking two. Today, I only had prepared two questions. So the first question says, looking at the diagram, is this a network? If you follow through the video, you should be able to answer this correctly. And the last question says, I want to connect devices so they can communicate locally. What is the best device for this? Is it a router, a modem, a switch, or a firewall? Until next time, I remain your favorite network engineer, Urifa John or Joanne. Bye for now.